I actually had prepared these remarks for the benefit of the mayor, but obviously he's not here, so I will consider him in proxy. My name is Barrymore Lawrence, L-A-U-R-E-M-C-E, Scherer, S-C-H-E-R-E-R. I live in Yonkers. I've taken it going on for many years about development and about the balance between development and preservation. And I have to say now that the Landmarks Board finally has the degree of historical and architectural knowledge that it lacked when I posted some years ago. And the mayor has helped to implement this change. And having done that, the mayor owes it to the citizens of Yonkers who love their heritage and the historical associations that this city and its architecture are fortunate to be able to claim, to let that Landmarks Board protect the appropriate buildings. That doesn't mean every old building, it means the appropriate ones. And the Landmarks Board is well constituted to make those judgments. The Landmarks Board is not standing in the way of development. The current economy is. The fact that the developers haven't the money to build their projects is part of this reason. They have misled the city, and therefore they should not be handed one of our most marketable assets at bargain basement rates to be destroyed willy-nilly. Lots of places can claim that they have a mall, or that they have a park, or that they have a playground, but what other city in America can claim the historic district, can claim to have the historic district where John Masefield, once the poet laureate of England, bought his first volumes of poetry to read, and then a few doors down, the first sheets of paper on which to begin his extraordinary career as an author and poet. We can claim that distinction, and no developer should be allowed to rob us and future generations of that distinction. Travel the state, travel the nation, and see how city after city has made their history into their thriving economy. Not by tearing it down, not by leaving a few old facades and bits of ornament to remain like meaningless gravestones, but by restoring and creatively reusing its precious old building stock.
Thank you, sir. You may submit that if you'd like that information.
You want my name?
We are taking comments on both amendments that we put out for public comment on the police department as well as the landmarks. Deborah Cohen, and then Nancy Slomash.
Chairman, can I just come and speak to the end of the table so I can explain my notes now?
I'm reading this at the ads of Mary
Okay, hold on. Who's Deborah?
I am.
Deborah's first. Nancy, you're next. I
Okay.
called you saying you're next.
Sorry.
That's okay.
My name is Deborah Cohen. I'm here to offer comments on the proposed charter amendment regarding the landmark review process. As an attorney over the past 8 years, I've represented clients with very diverse interests and concerns impacted by the landmarks review process in Yonkers. I've represented the owner of a commercial property in downtown Yonkers that's adjacent to the proposed Chicken Island development site that was the subject of a landmark application. I've represented a group of investors who had signed a purchase agreement for what they thought was a teardown property on North Broadway, only to discover what proved to be significant cost to them, that the house was of unique architectural and historic significance. I represent a downtown development team about to begin the review and approval process for a development proposal that includes a building of architectural and historic interest that potentially could end up as the subject of a hardship application or a certificate of appropriateness. I've seen the existing landmark review process in action and experienced with my clients from their unique perspectives what they felt worked well and what caused them concern and frustration. We have to start from the premise that no process is perfect. Every process, no matter how well thought out, is implemented by imperfect people. To me as a lawyer, evaluating whether the current process or the proposed process is preferable, the fundamental question is which process, when subjected to the passions, agendas, ambitions, and interests of those who participate in it, is best able to provide a result that can withstand being challenged as arbitrary or capricious. constitutional? Which process is better equipped to promote an energetic, efficient, thorough, and constructive public dialogue and end up with a result that inevitably cannot satisfy everyone, but cannot be successfully challenged for not being fair or reaching a reasonable conclusion? What is the particular end intended to be achieved by this change? And is this proposed change going to be an effective means to that end? The answer is no. If statements in the Journal News article of August 1, 2009 are accurate, these changes have been proposed because of the perception that decisions by the Landmarks Board have interfered with downtown development. Using this criteria, it is a proverbial no-brainer that proposed changes to the Charter's existing landmarks review process is not an efficient means to the end sought by the sponsors of increasing the efficiency of the development review and approval process. In fact, there's a real possibility we'll have the opposite effect. To illustrate this, I've created two simple charts that show in black the steps of the landmarks review process as it exists and as proposed. I've inserted in red where an aggrieved party can file a legal challenge under each process. As you can see, the proposed process will actually have more steps than the existing process and more opportunities for unhappy participants to file a legal challenge to the determination made. If the present landmark review process is not working as efficiently as some would like, they should look to how their own actions or inactions may be at the root of the problem. If the city had an up-to-date list of buildings of architectural and historic significance, developers would know before they spent a dime on a project whether the existence of such a building or build time.
You may submit that if you wish to submit it to the record.
I've given one to the recorder, and I will leave one for the committee, and I have extra copies for the public who may be interested in your questions.
I have a letter. I have a letter here from the mayor. Now I'll ask our vice chair to read it to the record. That's what we're saying.
August 4th, 2009, Yonkers Charter Revision Commission. Dear Chairman Walls and Charter Revision Commission members, please read the following statement concerning the Landmarks Preservation Board at tonight's public hearing and included as part of the Charter Revision Commission's official public hearing record. Contrary to recent media reports that have been spurred on by political pandering, the proposed city charter change concerning the powers and duties of the Landmarks Preservation Board does not only have merit, but is in keeping with the spirit, intent, and letter of our city charter. This proposal, if endorsed by the Yonkers Charter Revision Commission and approved by the voters of our city in November, would accomplish two important things. First, it would require that the Yonkers Planning Board perform a final review to all landmark designations. As with the current process where landmarking is recommended, the City Council would still retain its power to make a final determination regarding whether or not a structure should be landmarked or whether or not a given area should be made a historic district. Secondly, the Planning Board would assume the appeals process responsibility with regard to any certificate of appropriateness that has been disapproved by the Landmarks Preservation Board. Contrary to reports and speculation, this proposed change was not made in a vacuum or to merely diminish the responsibility or importance of the Landmarks Preservation Board. In fact, this proposal was made to realign the Landmarks review process and properly assign a final review of these important land use issues to the Planning Board, the city board that has overall responsibility for land use actions pursuant to our city charter. In addition, it is worth mentioning that since December 2, 2008, the City Council has created a near paralysis on the Landmarks Preservation Board by holding 4 Landmarks Preservation Board appointments hostage. The Council's failure to provide its approval and consent to their respective appointments as required by Section 45-3-B of the Yonkers City Code has caused the Landmarks Preservation Board to operate with only a limited number and caused several of their scheduled meetings to be canceled